Pakistan has returned to normalcy. The streets are no longer flooded with thousands of protesters. Major and arterial roads are free of burning tires. Schools and colleges have reopened. There is also no jam on mobile network. After 3 days of widespread protests, everything finally seems to be back to normal in Pakistan. But all this did come at a cost. In a late-night development, Imran Khan-led Pakistani government has struck a deal with a faction of ultra-right group, Tehreek Labbaik. The Tehreek Labbaik Party, or the TLP, has led mass protests since the 30th of October. According to the agreement, the government of Pakistan has agreed to put Asia Bibi in the country's exit control list. The Pakistani government will also not oppose any review petition in the case. Remember, the complainant in the case, Qari Muhammad Salam, has already moved the apex court in Pakistan. The petitioner has sought a review of the blasphemy verdict. Salam also demanded that Asia Bibi be put on exit control list till the case is revisited. The Imran Khan government has also agreed to release all protesters who were detained. Not just that, the authorities have given their nod to inquiring into the deaths of the protesters, if any. In return for all of this, the hardliners have agreed to call off the protest and have issued an apology for the inconvenience caused to the people and institutions. Clearly, this is a massive U-turn by the Imran Khan government. Just 1 day ago, both Imran Khan's party, the Tehreek-e-Insaf, and the country's Human Rights Minister, Shireen Mazari, had tweeted to distance themselves from the complainant's review petition. The PTI had also claimed that the government would not place Asia in the exit control list. Mazari had said that the Imran Khan government will stick to its stand. Pakistan's top court had acquitted Asia Bibi on the 30th of October. The verdict was historic. It had overturned the death sentence that was awarded to a Christian woman over questionable charges of blasphemy. Bibi's acquittal had generated fresh ray of hopes in Pakistan. There was a sense of hope that minorities too would one day have same rights as the Muslims in Pakistan. Imran Khan's Pakistan was projected in a tolerant and progressive light, more on the lines of what the cricketer-turned-politician had promised after coming to power. For a change, it looked like the start of a new Pakistan. With a tragic U-turn, has actually put Pakistan back to square one. Imran Khan's government had clearly succumbed to the pressure of the radical Islamists. The government of Pakistan has to put an innocent woman back in the front line. All of this is exchange of an apology from the hardliners and withdrawal of the protests. And to add more perspective on this story, I am now joined in by Mateen Haider, a senior journalist joining us live from Islamabad. Mateen, a very warm welcome to you over here on World is One. You know, normalcy is all set to return to Pakistan after 3 days of continuous protests. But this has clearly come with a very heavy cost.
Yes, yes, indeed, I will agree with you that at very high cost, although agreement reached between government negotiators and TLP leaders, and if we go through 4 or 5 clauses of that particular agreement, except apology, the threats that TLP leaders had given to the judges of murder, that has not been withdrawn. The harsh words that TLP leaders had used against country's army, that has not withdrawn. There is no mention of those things except that if through any action or through any word, if TLP has hurt the sentiments of any faction of the society, they apologize over this. But in this apology, there is no mention of anything that earlier they spoke about judiciary or earlier they spoke about country's armed forces. Their remarks against armed forces and their remarks against high judiciary have been circulating on social media. So it's true that the Khan government has taken a U-turn. Right. And surrendered before these extremist forces, which had already given a very high cost to this definitely government.
Right, Mateen, so going by, what you are saying, the apology is not really an apology, but in exchange, they've actually struck a very hefty deal because they're clearly, the government has bowed down to them. They have agreed to not oppose the review petition. Apart from that, Asia will be placed on the exit control list. Going by that, the Asia Bibi verdict had, actually defined not just the judiciary, but Pakistan's government also, their stance had been defined in a very progressive manner. That's exactly how Imran Khan had envisioned Pakistan. But now with this U-turn, do you not think that Imran Khan's political might is now at stake?
No, actually, the thing was the way government had definitely compromised its stance earlier adopted by Prime Minister during his address to the nation, that the writ of the state will not be compromised and it will be restored at any cost. So it's true that the writ of the state has to be established, but two main cities, one, the federal capital of Pakistan, Islamabad, and Lahore, and then the major highway connecting Lahore and Islamabad was almost locked, right? So, although in certain other cities of the country, the activities were normal, but Punjab, Lahore, Islamabad were locked down virtually by the activists of TLP. But this agreement is also very tricky. The review petition will be definitely filed by TLP, and that has already been filed. So government has nothing to do with it. Definitely it would be decided by the court of the law. And the second, as far as placing of Asia Bibi's name on ECL, exact clause in the agreement is that the legal procedure will be adopted. So it's not immediately or directly placing name of Asia Bibi on ECL. There has to be full-fledged legal requirement. And that could be on the orders of the Supreme Court of Pakistan. If court wishes, then the name would be placed. If court directs the government that her name may not be placed on ECL. So the agreement itself is tricky. Actually, the TLP leaders wanted face saving, and they had been given a very tough and final message by the security establishment to kind of get protest. Otherwise, a massive operation was being planned to remove these protests from Islamabad and Lahore.
All right, Mateen, you're saying that the entire negotiation has been very tricky. There's one thing for sure over here, that, the Tehreek Labbaik has had an upper hand. Don't you think that the government could have displayed more strength while negotiating with Tehreek Labbaik?
Yes, you are right that government could have showed more strength or something like that. But as in your opening remarks, you talked about it, it is indeed a very sensitive issue in Pakistan. So, and keeping in view the already threats given by TLP leaders to judiciary and armed forces of Pakistan, and moreover, the life was completely paralyzed in Islamabad, Lahore, and Punjab, and in some parts of the country. Keeping in view, government wanted to handle this issue very carefully, which is why Prime Minister Imran Khan, while leaving for China, had constituted a high-level team to handle this particular thing. But as far as security establishment was concerned, they were very clear about this. They wanted that this protest should come to an end, and which is why there have been representatives from the establishment in the negotiation, and at a number of stages, the talks had collapsed. But definitely with the help of the government negotiators, and ultimately this agreement was reached. So, yes, over to you.
Right, Mateen, but also by taking this U-turn, Imran Khan has actually defined what the status and what is the stance which their government has towards the hardliners. And of course, the hardliners have actually reclaimed their status, which was just being questioned few days ago. That brings me to my next question. Asia Bibi's case and the protests that followed a rather historic verdict is a stark reminder of the status of minorities in Pakistan. Why do you think that this case has been so divisive in Pakistan?
Well, so the status of minorities in Pakistan, that is not under question. Minorities enjoy complete, definitely freedom over here. So, but on this particular issue, as far as this Asia Bibi, it was massively politicized. And the case had already cost the life of the former governor of Punjab, Mr. Salman Taseer. So, because this issue is linked with the blasphemy, the law which was made during the regime of former dictator General Ziaul Haq. And since definitely over the last 30 years, so there have been definitely, there have been debates, there have been opinions to review this particular law, but who's ever talked about this, reviewing this particular law, or amending this particular law? There have been definitely massive demonstrations, there have been threats to such persons, and in the past, Salman Taseer had talked publicly that the law should be reviewed, it should be amended, and then you better know what happened to him. So it was keeping in view that particular sensitivity that government ultimately took U-turn and compromised on this particular thing. But I think now keeping in view definitely the situation and what happened on the ground and the calls from the civil society, whatever we have witnessed through social media, through Twitter, and through through definitely other liberal elements in Pakistan, there have been strong calls that this law should be amended, this law should be reviewed. But as far as minorities are concerned, minorities in Pakistan enjoy complete freedom. There have been, of course, except this particular thing, there have been no other issues connected to minorities. They are part of Pakistani society. They are part of the civil services. Minorities absolutely enjoy their freedom, and their religious activities are performed by them without any fear. So, but we have to definitely keep in mind this particular extremist and religious groups like this TLP and other religious groups. They are posing very serious threat to Pakistan's liberal face.
Madeen, I'm running short of time, but I would, before I wrap this chat, I would beg to differ with you, because we cannot actually overlook this case, Asia, and the fact that Asia is Christian. We all know that the Ahmadis are a sect in Pakistan which are also countering several hurdles. So to say that minorities are enjoying a complete free status over there would be unfair. Having said that, it was not just Salman Taseer, also Shahbaz Bhatti, who was assassinated. So clearly the blasphemy law also needs to be revisited. But thank you so much for joining us here on World is One and giving us your precious time.